This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
Salam, welcome to the Halftime Show with Omar Adori. I am your host, covering everything sport, international and local. Wow. Okay, right. Get this, guys. UFC's here in the UAE. We know that, right? But this weekend, Brian Ortega faces the Korean zombie himself here in the UAE. So excited. I've loved watching this fighter because even when he fought Max Holloway is a complete beast. Even when he fought Max Holloway, there was something about that fight that even told me that Brian Ortega could match his ability. However, what kind of mindset he was in, we're going to find out today on the Halftime Show, because he's going to be on the show today live. And that's what I love about this show. We bring artists from all over the world, mixed martial artists, sports, athletes, coaches, players, anyone that can add value to this show and show their heart, their soul, their mindset. We bring them on. So we're bringing him on today. Stay tuned on the only place to be at 3, the Halftime Show on Pulse 95.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
Welcome to the Halftime Show with Omar Adori. I am your host, covering everything sport, international and local. Now, I did tell you I bring stars, international and local, and here it's a great honor to have this athlete because I've been following him for a long time. The man himself, Brian Ortega. Welcome to the show. Firstly, Brian, how are you feeling, man?
Great, man. I'm feeling great. It's the best I've felt in a while, and it's long overdue, right?
Absolutely.
It's long overdue. So it feels great to come back to the sport that gave me the notoriety that I have, and to come and prove and show everyone again what I do, who I am, and why I am who I am.
Absolutely. The last time we saw you in action was December 19th, if I'm not mistaken, against the man Max Holloway. A lot has happened since then. What's changed for you?
I've had a lot of mental growth and physical growth, and a lot of different new experiences that have made me, in my opinion, a better person.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned the mental growth. I'm really interested in that because sometimes when we face our own challenges mentally, we start to stimulate our brain into performance. How has that process been for you mentally?
It was tough in the beginning, man. You know, in the beginning, I didn't want to do anything. I just kind of wanted just to just relax and just be lazy and eat. And I had no motivation at all, just because there was nothing to be motivated for. You know, the thing I've worked for the hardest in my entire life has failed, and then I obviously in the mindset that I failed at everything. And then taking a step back and having people come into your life and help you understand what happened and explain it and better it and help you better it has been a journey in itself. You know, so all that and getting the right people to get behind you mentally and kind of motivate you and upbring you up, and everything has been a blessing for me.
Absolutely. And it sounds like, Brian, you're very harsh on yourself, because when we look at it, it was your first defeat, man. And it was to you know, a respectable opponent as well. When you reset your mind and you reset your mindset to be able to change all this, how do you go from being this high to just dropping solo, just to come back up again that high? How is that for you mentally?
It was a roller coaster ride, man. It literally was a roller coaster ride. That's what it was. As high as I went up, I went down, you know? So then I had to go and climb back up again. And this time not alone, but with help. So that was the difference. Before I climbed up alone, and now I had help. And it was a team effort. And that's why I feel great to be where I'm at and feeling this way.
Absolutely. Coming up next, we talk to Brian about now the rise on that roller coaster and what he's aiming for in 2021 on the only place to be at 3, the Halftime Show on Pulse 95.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
Welcome back to the Halftime Show. Now, it's not often I get starstruck by these athletes. And this guy right here, man, I've been following him for a long time. I've seen his rise, and I'm super excited that he's back in action this weekend in the UAE against the Korean zombie, the man himself, T-City, Brian Ortega. How have things been for you physically?
I did a lot of tests and exams to force me not to lie about how I feel and what my performances are. we did a lot of tests, reevaluating, and had Dr. Andy Galpin look at all these numbers and say, okay, this is where you're not good at on athletic side of things. This is how we're going to make it better. And we started there, and then we started making them better, and then we kept progressing. And ultimately his goal was to turn me into a legit athlete. You know, I was a fighter and a competitor, but not an athlete. And that's the pillar that we could work on the most, and we did.
And how much, it sounds like we're bringing sports science now on its highest now. How much has that been now for you?
It's right, bro. I ate junk food and trained just to train, you know, and as long as I felt all right, I was doing good. So to be introduced to the level and the science of fitness and the workout and stuff like that, and to understand it, and to basically not only have this guy teach me that on a physical level, but to teach me that on a mental level, to tell me this is what you're doing, this is why you're doing it, and this is what's going to happen. So the what, how, what, when, why, all these answers that I have, they've been answered, they've been taught to me, and they've been understood, and they've been implicated.
Amazing. I'm super. Listen, I was already excited to see you fight, man. And like I said, even with the Max Holloway fight, I was, you know, you want someone to do well. You know the upbringing, you know what the challenges they face. You follow obviously their career. Now with that, when that happened, now that you brought in the element of sports science, I'm so intrigued now to see, you know, a modified version. Is that fair to say, of Brian Ortega?
Yes. And this is only the beginning of it too.
And so, okay, Brian, now that you brought in the sports science, now that you've almost reset your mindset, what can we expect from the new Brian Ortega?
I have to show you guys, you know, it's hard to talk about anything that I'm going to do. I can promise you the world. It's honestly, go in there Saturday and watch for yourself, because I'm interested in as well as you are. You haven't seen this Brian, neither have I.
Yeah.
I'm ready and excited to show this guy. So I can only say tune in for Saturday, you know?
Absolutely. Now, speaking about tuning in for Saturday, your opponent, the Korean Zombie himself, there's been back and forth between you guys. What can we expect from this fight?
I mean, whether we had our issues or not, I think this is going to be a good fight regardless. He's a guy who goes for the finishes, and so am I. So this is going to become a game of what happens when push comes to shove.
Absolutely. Now, Brian, for those that know you, they know that you're a mixed martial artist. You spoke about the difference between being a fighter and athlete, you know, and bringing and merging all those worlds together. Is this the time more than ever that you've been kind of studying different techniques, studying different opponents? How has that approach been in terms of a notational analysis way from, you know, you viewing your opponents and fighters?
Everything for me lately has been educating myself in art and martial arts and in techniques and strategies and in how people how they move and everything like that. So it's been interesting, man. I find myself doing things I've never done before, and actually overcoming some of these things and having a better understanding of it. And it's crazy, man. Honestly, it's like I'm impressed, but I'm impressing myself with what I'm doing. You know, like, because the past me be like, nah, I don't want to do this. I don't want, like, nope, nah, take it off. I don't want to study this. I don't want to see this. I don't want to even look at this. Who cares about this? This is boring. But now that mentality has changed.
Amazing.
And that's all thanks to the team, you know?
Amazing. Coming up next, on our final segment, we speak to Brian about that change and how it just seems like the rejuvenation of Brian Ortega is just the start to come on the only place to be at 3, the halftime show on Pulse 95.
This is the halftime show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
Welcome back to the halftime show with Omar Adori. I'm here with the man himself, T-City, Brian Ortega. He's here in the UAE. Listen, if you have just tuned into the show, you're in for a treat, because I'm telling you now, this is one thing that when you see someone really rejuvenate himself, re-energize himself, and reset his mind and his body, I'm telling you guys, you're not going to be disappointed from this fight. So make sure you do tune into the UFC this weekend to catch him. Brian, a lot of things you said about in the earlier this interview, you spoke about changing the team. You spoke about changing your mindset. You spoke about being open to education. For those aspiring fighters who are coming up there, who are looking up to you, what message do you have for them in terms of learning and absorbing information?
Never stop learning. You're going to get good at what you do, and you're going to want to get comfortable with that. Don't do that. Always learn, grow, and pay extra attention to those bad habits that you have and fix them and really dial them in. Do the boring work. Do the things that you don't want to do. And
what kind
keep
of things?
doing that on every level, whether it's throwing a jab, whether it's throwing a kick, whether do all the boring stuff, perfect it not only on the bag, but perfect it in the gym, using it in live training, and overcome all these fears that you have. You know what I'm saying?
The words discomfort, the words fear are often associated with negativity. You've brought it into a positive vibe. I love that. Is there a degree of discomfort in comfort to achieve the final result?
So the more comfortable you are in uncomfortable situations, the better you will view things, you will view the world, and you will have a full understanding of how to just breathe and understand it and live it without letting it mess this up.
Absolutely. Brian, thank you very much for your time, man. You definitely have a fan in me, and everyone else who's listening on the show will be supporting you all the way. And hopefully, when the restrictions reduce in the UAE and you come back to us next time with a title, we'll be able to bring you on the show, man, again. So thank you very much. I appreciate that.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
And there you have it. On the Halftime Show, the man himself, Brian Ortega, aka T-City, here telling us about how his mindset has changed, his team has changed, he's incorporated sports science as well. He seems like a rejuvenated fighter in that respect. And I love the fact that he's almost reset everything to try and accomplish a goal. And his advice as well during the show to aspiring athletes and even people who just want to, try something new and learn and develop and advance their mentality. Very, very impressive. What did you guys think? 4215 Ittasalat, or do text us or even slide into my DMs at Omar Abduri and let me know. Coming into this fight, he's had a total of 16 fights. He's won 14 of them, 3 of them by knockout, 7 of them by submission, 4 by decision, and he's lost 1. But even that, it just tells me that, fighters can be up here and all of a sudden, within 1 loss, you just feel that drop all of a sudden, which was insane. That he had to change everything. You could see the anxiety was there. You could see that, he lost his motivation at one point. And he said he was getting fat, etc., eating. But this is Brian Ortega. We were talking about him running that division. The featherweight division is something that, has, a couple of really talented guys in there. And Brian Ortega is definitely one of them. It's also interesting, his first appearance since December 19, which was UFC 231 against Max Holloway. So much happened in a short space of time. If you think about it, we're coming up to a year and we're talking about it like it's been such a long, layoff. But since then, COVID has hit and so many things have happened. But I think there's a blessing in disguise for him. And I really hope he does, get the win, because there's so much more, I think, to the athlete, the man himself as well, the personality that he's got. And I think he needed this loss against Max Holloway to be able to advance. What do you guys think? Who's going to win the fight? Is it going to be Brian Ortega, T-City, or the Korean Zombie? Let us know. That's me, folks. It's the Halftime Show. It's a wrap on Pulse 95. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, make sure you like the video, share it on YouTube as well, and subscribe to our Pulse 95 radio. And if it's a podcast you're into, we've got Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Anghami, just to get you thinking about what's happening in the world of sport, health, and well-being. All the best, guys. Stay blessed. Peace and love. That's me, Omar Aduri, from the Halftime Show, sending you all my energy and my love. Peace out, guys.
If you liked this episode of The Halftime Show, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.
Pulse